Tomorrow is my birthday and people I thought were my super close friends haven't done anything for me. And most of them know I work tomorrow and it's going down Tuesday. So if I don't get anything, yes, I'm going to be big mad because I always do something some way, somehow for those who are super close to me. I don't care, it's my day and I always make yours great, so make mine great too.
And there you have it, folks, a choosing beggar begging for gifts for her birthday. Isn't the world great? Let's begin. Free? That's not good enough, buddy!
Everyone dance to the beat!
I'll pay you an exposure.
Sure, I'll babysit your kid.
Unlimited brain power! This is truly my masterpiece.
This first one on r/choosingbeggars is an update on last episode's story, You're Going on Vacation? Take my kids with you! This is the follow-up on the crazy cousin story. This morning my boyfriend and I were on FaceTime with his sister. She told us all about what went down on the Karen front after boyfriend and I left. Apparently, CC, crazy cousin, had gone crying to her father and a few other relatives, including boyfriend's sister, to complain about how my boyfriend and I set her up to be humiliated in front of the kids and how her kids are heartbroken. Boyfriend's sister simply hung up on her, of course. The other relatives either laughed it off or tried to explain to her why she was in the wrong, all except her father. Her dad had the gall to go to boyfriend's parents' house and yell at them for making his daughter and his grandkids cry. He whined on about how they had raised my boyfriend and his sister to be selfish, how they needed to start acting like family, and a whole bunch of other nonsense. At first, my boyfriend's dad tried to stay calm and explain to his brother what was actually happening. But as it turns out, boyfriend's uncle logic receptors had stopped functioning a long time ago. He continued to whine and demanded that my boyfriend fulfill his promise of paying for his daughter's family's weekend in Mount Abu. My boyfriend's dad is a very patient man. His mother is not. She never hesitated to shut down this kind of stuff. She tore into cousin's dad, telling him his daughter was a good-for-nothing piece of trash who thinks the world owes her something. She also said that the only reason she's allowed to come to their, boyfriend's parents' place, is because of their concern for her children. And she gave boyfriend's uncle an ultimatum. Either his daughter would apologize for my boyfriend and I, or they would cut ties with her completely. Her uncle is a chauvinistic bumhole and tried to tell boyfriend's dad to get his wife under control. Boyfriend's dad simply told him to get out and not come back unless it was to apologize. My boyfriend's parents have often helped his cousin and her husband financially and routinely buy gifts for their kids. And they've never asked for anything in return. Boyfriend's mother is usually a very kind and gentle lady, but the moment anyone attacks her kids, she turns into Mama Bear to end all Mama Bears. Boyfriend's cousin probably doesn't want to fall out of favor with his parents. His sister knew that we may get a few annoying phone calls from her, so she could apologize during our vacation. So she took it up to herself to make it clear to the cousin that she is not to disturb us in any way. We, of course, thanked her for being such an MVP. And that's a really good wrap up for a really good Choosing Beggars story. Let's go to the next one. This Choosing Beggars story is called A Few Years Ago Somebody Tried to Sell Me My Own Bike. A few years ago, I was a cycle courier for a food delivery company and was also fairly well known with the other riders as suggestions who would fix, bodge their bikes for the cost of parts only and would get them parts cheap when I could. Though a lot of people would try and avoid paying me the cost of the parts. Anyway, there was one guy who had 2 kids and his girlfriend wasn't working as she was pregnant with his third. He was using a bike lock that cost €1 and was so rubbish the locks can be snapped by giving them a good tug. Since that's not suitable security when your bike is your livelihood and I was upgrading my lock, I decided to give him my old one, which was a D-lock worth about £20. A month later, his bike got stolen whilst I was locked up and he kept mentioning that I had given him the lock. At this point, his third child was due any day and he had no way of earning as he didn't have a bike. He asked to borrow one of mine, but due to the value of my bikes, the cheapest one was €700 new, I wasn't willing to lend him one. However, I had seen an old rally bike on Gumtree for £70 and came up with a deal. I would buy it outright for him and he could pay me back €10 a week. The job paid weekly and average earnings was about 10 an hour. He was working 30 or so hours a week. Coupled with another €30 I'd lend him for bills, that's €10 a week for 10 weeks. I had a look at the bike, bought it and gave it a service. So it was almost a 30-year-old bike but in fantastic condition, and that model of bike is very well known for how robust it is. It only needs some new cables which I swapped for him. Everything else was spot on. I quite liked the bike myself, so when I gave it to him I asked to let me know if he was going to sell it and I would buy it back. 2 days later, he texted me with a long list of things that were broken on it and needed replacing, including things that you wouldn't get on a 30-year-old bike. I knew it was bullcrap and he was just complaining because it was old. The Choosing Beggars said, "Hey man, the bike is crap. It needs, the long list, fixing, so I'm selling it, but I know you said you might buy it from me, so let me know if I'm putting it up for sale." I said, that's strange. I checked all of that the other day and it was absolutely perfect. I'd be surprised if that broke already, but yeah, I'll have it back. Meet me at X o'clock at location Y. Cool. Are you bringing cash or do you want to transfer me the money? I'm asking £100 for it. Are you serious? You can't charge me for it. You haven't paid me for the bike yet. It's technically still my bike and I only paid £70 for it, so I'm not paying you anything. If you don't want the bike, you can give it back to me and buy one with your own money. I'm not lending you cash. Fine, I'll just sell it online then. That went on for a little longer, but as he couldn't avoid me, I got the bike back the following day. Nothing was broken on it and I kept it for a year before selling it to a friend. That bike is now well over 30 years old and it's all original except for tires, brake pads and one replacement wheel. Oh, and when he returned the bike he had a lock with him. The one I gave him. I mentioned that I thought the thieves had cut it. Nope, he admitted that when his bike got stolen he had been using the £1 lock because the one I gave him was too heavy. But instead he had gone round saying it was my fault his bike got stolen because I'd given him a faulty lock. I never did get my other £30 cash back though. And a couple of months later I found out that he was telling people it was my fault he was out of work because he couldn't be a cycle courier and he didn't have a bike. And this, my friends, is how the choosing beggar reacts to failure. He blames it on others. It is never the choosing beggar's fault.
Dear future husband, I'm not marrying a man who expects me to work upon bearing his children. My career is my choice and shouldn't be mandatory in our relationship, especially after having your kids. Basically, you should have 8 figures. Preferably residual income by the time we have kiddos so that you can also be present for and maintain fatherhood. Gently, your fair future wife. Oh, what a charming choosing beggar. Sign me right the hell up.
And the next Choosing Beggar story is called Older Brother Expects Younger Siblings to Buy Him a Car.
So our dear old brother has always been terrible with money and has been into shady business and has managed to scam everyone in our family out of $1,000. He punked our mother into paying $5,000 in tax evasion penalties under the guise of avoiding jail time. He signed a contract for $7,000 worth of security system equipment under my credit just because he was the only person home when the technician came by to provide a quote. I didn't find out months later how much the security system was until I started receiving calls from collections because I never received an invoice and he said he cut deals and had the cost covered. Recently, my older brother had his car break down. In reality, it was our middle brother's spare beater car that I had allowed him to use for the last few years until he managed to purchase his own car. Well, now he wants help purchasing a new car and would like our help in either financing or co-signing for him because his credit is terrible. We were never going to finance anything for him after his story, but still wanted to hear him out. He wants a new, large-size sedan so he can drive his sales clients comfortably. Total cost of the car was $37,000. We told him there was no way we were buying him a $37,000 car and he had to be way more reasonable because my own Honda Civic didn't cost more than $15,000. Our older brother said it was too small and he didn't like the base model for his needs. I said there's no need to have an all-leather interior car and maybe he should consider a used car or a cheaper make. Older brother said no, there's no point in wasting his money unless it's the car he wants because he'll be driving it for the next 9 years. Middle brother said no because he doesn't want to drive the opposite direction to drop me off at work and my car isn't clean enough for his clients. Older brother then cried to middle brother asking why he has being so difficult during his time of need and wasn't willing to compromise when all he wants is his own reliable car. Middle brother and I have cut back all of our offers to let him borrow any of our cars or any potential assistance in helping him afford a car. And an update, we have made it very clear we are not helping him buy a car in any shape or form, nor are we letting him borrow a car. We gave him options, but we withdrew everything and he can figure it out himself as it should be. Our older brother's response was, I didn't plan on the car breaking, it wasn't in my budget and I can't catch a break. You gave options and I don't like them, so I'll either fix the car or rent one. Waste my money, but I don't have to ask anyone for anything. Man, the gratefulness in this choosing beggar brother is amazing. Can feel the brotherly love.
So I was trying to buy a new phone from a guy. He told me it was $400. I said it's too expensive and there was one in retail shop for $299. I can't get there because I was banned. He told me no deal, either take it or leave it. I begged and asked if he could do a deal if it was a bro. He said, duh, yeah. I called him sexist and guess what? Guess what? He called me a feminist bitch in 2019 and he didn't apologize. Here's his number. Go get him, girls.
Yes, because that's how we act now in 2019. If a choosing beggar doesn't get what he or she wants, call in for help. This next choosing beggar story is called Good Friend Acted Disappointingly Like a CB at a Party Thrown for Her. This is a pretty short one, but it's been on my mind because this girl is actually a very good friend of mine and her behavior surprised me. It was her 30th birthday last week and her husband planned a surprise birthday party for her. He did a great job. The venue was decorated really well. He got a beautiful cake and managed to genuinely surprise her when we all thought she would figure it out before the night came. He's not brilliant at keeping secrets. She seemed to really enjoy the night. However, two really weird things happened at different points in the night. When I asked her if she had been genuinely surprised, she said that she was and then went on a small rant about how this made her suspicious of her husband because if he had managed to keep this a secret, what else was he hiding? I thought that was a pretty weird way to look at him arranging his lovely surprise, but I couldn't figure out from her tone whether she was serious, so I left it alone. Other friends have since said to me that she had the same conversation with them and seemed dead serious. Then a couple hours in the party, she went from table to table to let people know that she knew her husband had arranged this party by himself, and therefore we all still had to do something else for her birthday. The words, "Don't think you're taking credit for this," and "You better still be planning to do something for my birthday, were used. It was just a really weird way to treat a room full of people who were there to celebrate her and bought her lovely gifts. In fairness, she did message me a couple of days later with a really nice thank you for my present. Also, a lot of her friends did actually help her husband with the planning, and they seemed pretty miffed with what she was saying. I know most of the posts on this sub have a bit of indication at the end of a pretty black and white view of a choosing beggar. But like I said, this girl is a good friend and has been for about 10 years now. She can be a bit off sometimes, but never anything like this, so it's been on my mind a lot. You see, never let your guard down. A choosing beggar may lie in the warmest of hearts.
Next on r/choosing beggars, you don't have a job, so I'm doing you a favor by letting you work for pennies.
This was about 10 years ago, and I was looking for work at the time and was all done through talking, so sorry but no text messages here. My now ex-friend is a huge fan of Warhammer 40k and would spend all his money buying new figures. His building and painting skills were terrible though, with many of the figures having bits of plastic sticking out of them when they were meant to be cut off and glue seeping out from the joints. Ugh. So one day he asked me to paint his entire army of 144 tiny figures to the highest quality, and he would pay me for them. He said he asked the man at the shop he buys them from to paint them, and he said he would do it for £50 for each figure. £2,160 that is, but it was too high for him, so he asked me if I could do a lower price for him. I said sure, I would do it for £10 for each figure, like £1,440, which led to this conversation.
You see, I was actually looking for the best price I could get, you see.
Well, the last guy offered you £15 each. £10 is less than that.
Oh, yes, but I want the best price I can get. You understand what I'm saying?
What price did you have in mind?
Oh, I don't know. £1?
Right, so you want me to spend hours of my time painting these figures for basically nothing?
Oh, please, you don't have a job right now, do you? I'm being generous by offering my services to you. I'm offering you a job that pays money, and all you have to do is paint my army.
Yeah, no, I'd rather nap than paint them. No one's going to be dumb enough to paint these for £1 each.
Oh, okay, how's this? I'll pay you £125 if you buy the paint and the brushes. Sounds fair? And what painting techniques are you going to use? I want my family crest on each of their shields too.
Yeah, sure, for $125 I'll paint them. And my painting technique is basically to pick them up, dunk them in the paint, and then I'm done.
Oh, but that's a bad way to paint them. They'll look terrible.
Well, for £1 you're not getting anything better than cheap Chinese knockoff quality, man. I saw him a few days later showing off his figures to some other people at a gaming club. I say, so these are the figures you wanted painted?
Yes, I meant to talk to you about that. I found someone cheaper to do it, so I'm afraid the offer is off the table.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do it in the first time. What idiot did you manage to get to do it cheaper than £1?
And then he points saying, well, he will. Hey.
I ask, so how much are you paying him then?
Oh, 50 pennies.
I look at the guy and say, right, you're not very bright, are you? The guy said, hey man, money is money, right? Yeah, sorry, I gotta go, my cat's ringing.
Oh, what do you mean your cat?
Well, it might be. I did leave her at home, so she might be bored with my PS3 and wants me to come back home.
Oh, why does your cat have a PS3?
Oh, no, it's mine. Who knows, maybe she's playing on it right now. I didn't tell her not to, after all.
Excuse me, but are you feeling well?
Yep, fine, totally fine. Just going to join my cat now. Just going to go play on my system at home with my cat instead of wasting my time painting figures all day for pennies.
Oh, you don't have to be upset about it. I offered you the job and you said no. It's not my fault I had to give someone else the job.
I'm not upset, man. Just pointing out that instead of painting all day for no money, I'll just be gaming and curling up with my fluffy cat. Okay, so the end was just me taking the piss, but a few weeks later, I did hear more about his figures. His friend couldn't be bothered to actually paint the figures for only 50 pennies, so even though he had the job, he wasn't actually doing anything. The mind of a choosing beggar is a strange and weird place. This next choosing beggar story is called Premium Gas, Beef Jerky, and the Monster. So I was at a truck stop on I-40 when a guy drives up next to me in a 30-year-old whomping posse held together by bird crap, rust, and a dream. This car is packed full of stuff. The back seat is probably blocking his ability to see behind him. He asks me if I will buy him a couple of gallons of gas, and that's what he needs to get to the next town. I tell him I don't have any cash and he asks if I put it on my card. I agree. I put the card in and he asks me to put premium gas. I tell him he doesn't need premium gas for a 30-year-old car. He says he doesn't want it to break down. I reluctantly agree, annoyed just to get this guy out of my life, and I get him a couple of gallons of gas. He then asks if I could go in the gas station and buy him a soda and some food. I tell him he's asking a lot. He begs me to because he's hungry. Again, I agree. We go in and he starts grabbing all kinds of crap. Beef jerky, bags of soda, and Monster energy drinks. He throws it all on the counter and it's so much stuff. I tell him I would buy him just one thing. He then proceeds to tell me he needs the energy drinks to stay awake, the beef jerky for protein, and the chips for fuel. I really tell him he's asking far too much from me. He says he has a few bucks he could throw in to help and he was going to run to his car to go get it and be right back. He picks up the stuff off the counter, grabs some other things they have like keychains and DVDs, and goes right out the door of the truck stop, runs to his car, and drives off. The gas station attendant and I are both just looking at each other like, what the hell just happened? I wait there for the cops and the gas station people want me to pay for all the stuff that my friend stole. I explain to the cops what happened. They tell me I'm not liable to pay for what some deranged homeless man stole. I get in my car and leave and never have attempted to help someone again. That was probably 15 years ago. And you see how choosing beggars are destroying nice people. You want to help someone, and then a choosing beggar comes, ruins the experience, and bam! That person will never help anyone again. Thank you for watching today's video. Please subscribe for more r/ content, and until the next videos, have a great choosing beggar free day. Cheers.